Hey there, higher running coach and COROS athlete Sage Canaday here with a training talk sponsored by COROS. So we're going to talk about aerobic-based development training, monitoring your heart rate, relative low heart rate training, and some common pitfalls, but also common things that you could do to make yourself a better distance runner or endurance athlete in general. Let's get started. So if you followed my channel for a while, or you're new here, or it doesn't matter what level runner you are, I've been preaching low heart rate types of training, aerobic base building for over a decade on this YouTube channel. I've done a number of talks. You can check it out on the playlist, but it doesn't matter if you're training for a 5K or a marathon or an ultra marathon. These are aerobic based events. 99% of your energy, or at least maybe 95%, aerobic based for the 5K, moving up to 98% for the 10K half marathon, then 99 to about 100% for ultra marathons and marathons. So it's very important you have stamina and endurance. Most runners, you could sprint 100 meters, but it's a matter, and you can do that pretty fast, right? You might be able to go sub 4-minute mile pace or sub 4-minute 1500 meter pace for 100 meters, but to be able to carry up fractions of that pace for longer distances requires stamina. It requires getting your breathing under control, but also making sure that you're feeding your muscles with oxygen. They're utilizing oxygen very efficiently as a fuel, and you're burning fat as a fuel too. That helps endurance athletes out a ton. So how do we get there? Well, and again, this is thanks COROS for sponsoring this video. Heart rate training has always been the gold standard, and with COROS we got this new armband heart rate monitor, which you could check out the details in the product description below, but also on the COROS website. But a great way to measure your data, to get quantitative numbers and data, and to track your accuracy in training as well as monitoring your proper intensity. You need objective data, and this thing is really accurate. COROS has come a long way with their heart rate monitor. It's super comfortable. It goes on your bicep, and the accuracy is really good. I've been testing it out for months now, and it's really great to see. It syncs up via Bluetooth on my COROS watch. I like to wear the Apex 2 as well as the Vertix. You could wear the Pace watch as well from COROS, but it syncs wirelessly via Bluetooth. It has 38 hours of battery life. It's easy to charge up anyway, and I could sync it there on the COROS app and look at the data after my run, even upload it on other platforms, and it gives me kind of that training data, those metrics that you like to see on the COROS hub as well. But tracking fitness progress with heart rate data has been really key, and having an accurate heart rate monitor is really key with that, because if you don't have accurate data, this kind of all defeats the purpose of low heart rate training. And before we get into how to use this in your training plan and extend your endurance with low heart rate training, I will say the armband is really innovative because it's lightweight, it's flexible, you barely notice it's there on your bicep, but there's a lot of benefits compared to just a regular chest strap, because if you're wearing a hydration vest or a pack, sometimes that sternum chest strap gets in your way. So this is on your arm, gets out of the way. For a lot of women wearing sports bras, it's also generally more comfortable. And if you have chest hair like I do, sometimes the accuracy of the chest strap, the hair on the chest gets in the way too, so that's another benefit. So the key thing with lower heart rate numbers is it's all relative to you as an individual. You kind of have to know your max heart rate, or at least know when you're going super hard, what is your heart rate at the end of a 5K. The last 5 minutes of a well-paced 3K or 5K race could get you a very good idea of what 95, 98, or even 100% of your max heart rate is. And it's a moving target. It's a moving target with genetics. It moves with age. Maybe if you pull out more mental toughness, you could get closer to that 100% number, but it does require proper pacing, and the gold standard is usually a VO2 max test in a lab. That being said, if you're wearing this during a lot of hard workouts, a lot of hill repeats, 2 to 3 minute hill repeats with a short rest, or you're doing a VO2 max test or an all-out 3K or 5K time trial, even a 1 mile time trial, 1500 meter time trial, and you pace it really well, really evenly, to max out your heart rate, you could get some pretty good idea of some high value numbers. That being said, we're usually working at fractions of our 100% max. So, if your maximum heart rate is 200 beats per minute, maybe you're going to be only going at 70 to 65% of that. And we define heart rate in different zones for training. And generally at higher running and even through the COROS app, we run through 5 pace or 5 zone type of theory. Some coaches, athletes, influencers, they only do 3 zones, and they throw out these wide ranges of numbers where it could be 60 to 80% of max heart rate or perceived effort. It could be a pace zone, and so it gets kind of confusing, but generally I'm defining zone 2 as 65 to about 75, maybe 77, 78% of your max heart rate. Zone 1, which would be easy, relaxed running, recovery jog, warm-up jog type of pace, could even be brisk walking, is going to be under 65%. But that zone 2, that 65 to 75% of max heart rate, is a great aerobic-based zone to work out at. And if we know our relative heart rate monitor numbers, our heart rate beats per minute average on an easy aerobic run, that could be extremely beneficial for building our aerobic base, which really gives us a lot of endurance and stamina. And as I've preached in previous videos, that's generally going to be 80%, give or take, of your weekly mileage or weekly volume. Now, why use heart rate instead of other metrics like power or just the simple talk test? Well, I could go out in good conditions on a flat track or flat road, no wind. You don't want a big headwind, obviously, and you don't want it to be too hot and humid. But if I go out and run and I know my heart rate data at 8-minute mile pace, I could be averaging 120 beats per minute for an hour at 8-minute per mile pace. Well, that's zone 2 for me, but I could also increase my pace maybe to close to 7 minutes per mile pace. Also kind of an easy zone for me, but a minute per mile faster. Then maybe my average heart rate data, as it shows wearing this arm strap band from COROS, is 130 beats per minute. So I've changed an average run over a course of 60 minutes, 1 hour. I've gone up 10 beats per minute, but my mile pace has increased 60 seconds per mile. And you see the metric conversions for these pace ranges there too. So, it's a range. It's a range, and any given day I might be more tired, my heart rate might be slightly elevated, maybe I had an extra cup of coffee, some extra caffeine, maybe I'm dehydrated. So there's going to be slight variation there, but it goes into your whole aerobic base, your fitness score on COROS, which you could see on the app and in the hub as well. However, we don't always run in perfect conditions. There could be a big headwind going one way that's going to increase my effort a lot more. Even though my pace is going to slow down, my heart rate might skyrocket running into a headwind. Likewise, if it's really hot and humid out, and I'm dehydrated, my heart rate might also get a little higher. So it's a better accurate thing for reading your real effort rather than just looking at the pace numbers. And of course, wearing the COROS watch, I got GPS mile splits going on, instantaneous velocity, pace metrics, which is useful too, especially if you're training for a certain time goal, like a sub-3 hour marathon or something. But the heart rate data takes into account things like weather changes, the wind, how you're feeling on the day. So it's another great metric. Same thing with power. That's usually not going to be as accurate in running, and that could change wildly too depending on the wind direction, right? So that's why we always go back to heart rate. Final thing with measuring metrics, easy aerobic base building training, I always preach a subjective metric is to go by the talk test, right? So if you could carry on a conversation, you're not breathing so hard that you could actually carry on a long conversation with someone, or maybe by yourself, or sing along, then you're probably running at a pretty good zone. However, the problem with the talk test, that could also get very subjective, right? How well are you stringing together those sentences? So again, going back to the heart rate data does not lie. And again, the COROS armband strap, great way to monitor training load, training metrics, as you see. My computer turned off. On the COROS training hub there, but also within the app on your mobile device, you could check out that progress and that score. Watch as your relative heart rate drops as you get more fit over the weeks and months of aerobic base training. And that is generally what we suggest before you start doing more high intensity training. But again, It's going to work great for those threshold runs, zone 3, zone 4, as well as high intensity intervals like zone 5, VO2 max and stuff like that. So a great all-around way to track your progress in training, making sure you're going at the right intensity. The benefits of holding yourself back and staying in zone 2 or below on the vast majority of your training mileage is that you could build up the aerobic system at the cellular level, the mitochondria size and density, the powerhouse of the cell. You're improving circulation, better blood flow, improving your ability to utilize and burn fat more efficiently as a fuel. But the real kicker is you could generally build up your duration of running, build up your weekly mileage and volume, time spent on feet, in a more controlled way that could help reduce the risk for injury from skeletal muscular impact. If you're always trying to force the pace every day, you're going into zone 3, zone 4, that'll get you in shape too, but the higher impact force of running fast, of getting too tired, of no pain, no gain, and straining could throw off your form. It's gonna be higher impact force on average if you're always forcing the pace, and you are more likely to get injured if you're doing that kind of reckless training. Whereas if you're holding yourself back, if you're running controlled, you're still getting those aerobic benefits that's gonna really improve your stamina and endurance and breathing while trying to minimize that impact force and running with bad form. So it's all about staying relaxed, learning to work with your body rather than against it. So again, thanks to COROS for sponsoring this video. Check out my other videos on training for any surface, any distance. I've done it all over the years, well, at least up to 100 miles in the mountain trails, but 5K on the track, marathon, you name it. Thank you so much to all the Patreon supporters for supporting this channel. Hope you're doing well. Be sure to subscribe and like these videos and share them on social media if you like them. And again, check out this product, the heart rate monitor from COROS, in the description below. Give them a follow and #ExplorePerfection.